This video is going to be pretty simple, pretty sweet, pretty short. It is essentially just unhinged things I did during my high school career to somewhat work hard and get the best marks I possibly could. For those of you who don't know who I am,
I'm Nikita. This is my YouTube channel. I'm a writer, startup founder, soon to be startup founder, and I make videos on what I'm doing and creative stuff and studying as well.
Pre-gaming or studying refers to doing something before you're studying that activates your brain cells but isn't directly studying. Colloquially, pre-gaming is essentially drinking before the big event or before the big party. You tend to pre-game. Pre-gaming, you're studying. What does that mean? So let's say I'm not in the mood to study, or I'm demotivated, depressed, disappointed, heartbroken, yearning, crying, homesick, whatever it could be. If I'm in like a pretty low vibrational state, but I want to lock in study because I have an exam and the logical part of me knows I gotta study, I will pre-game my studying by playing Subway Surfers. And for me, not to brag, but I'm a pretty good Subway Surfers player. Like, I used to get like the highest scores when I would go for sleepovers with my friends and we would play on the TV Subway Surfers. But I play Subway Surfers to awaken myself, because you're like thinking quickly and you're thinking on your feet. And when I reach like a particular high score, or if he dies, or if the inspector catches him, then I will start studying immediately. So my books are on the ground. I don't have any books with me right now, but my books are down on the desk and I'm playing Subway Surfers. The moment that first game elapses, I throw my phone onto the bed, I hide it or give it to my friend or whatever, and I start studying immediately. Like, that one game of Subway Surfers is your that's your pre. You do it, you wake up. Other alternatives, because I know not everyone would love to play Subway Surfers, you can play Temple Run, Clash Royale. Don't play League of Legends or Valorant or those kind of games, because they are addictive and you will want to continue. But play any kind of short-term game that is playable on a phone and not on a laptop or anything else. And the moment you finish the first game, you gotta stop and enter the main party, which is studying. This is pre-gaming. And you can do any other kind of material similar to Subway Surfers. Some people whom I know, they like to listen to like devotional music and stuff. Some of my friends back here, they listen to like one episode of like some devotional like song and they lock in after that, because it's like a it's like the ritual before you start studying. Some people actually do drink alcohol. Like, there's one guy on Twitter or something, he was like pouring alcohol before his every major exam and studying. I would not recommend that, because I just wouldn't recommend that. Some people chug Red Bull, like K-Chung and a bunch of other study YouTubers. They do that. You can do that as well. The side effect of that is that you could vomit, and you do not want to clean up the vomit instead of studying. You know what I'm saying logically? So choose some kind of pre before studying and do that as a ritual. Also, for me, seeing other people like score more than me really pissed me off sometimes. I would like work extra hard just to like look at them like that when the teacher would distribute the papers. I was like 13, 15, 16. Like, you can't blame a 16-year-old for being petty, bro. And what kids used to do was we would ask each other how we study in 10th grade especially. I think 10th grade was more competitive and compared to 12th grade. I don't know why everyone was out to get the other person. Like, it's kind of weird looking back at it. But then again, my school was weird. So whatever, people would ask each other how the other person studies, and then they would use that as strategies to study. I remember my so-called friend used to ask me how I studied, and I would like make up bullshit lies and make up like the most unhinged thing ever. And unfortunately, she used to follow that, because she told me she tried to do it and it didn't work out or whatever. So listen to how other people study, and if you determine it's true, try to follow that as well. Another unhinged thing I did in like 10th grade, I had like 16 different reference books, and I would like scan every single one of them. I would make like very colorful like summaries of every science topic, because I despised science. So chemistry, I would draw the equations in sketch pens, like make my notes as colorful as possible so that the pain of studying is like reduced. Next is napping. I feel like sleep is important when finals are going on, but more than sleep, people tend to overlook the power of naps. What's a nap? Nap is like a short sleep, right? For me, I think anything above 2.5 hours cannot be called a nap when it is in a studying context. Like, if you're studying for an exam and you're cooked and you choose to sleep for 8 hours, I wouldn't do that, honestly. If I'm cooked and my exam is like very, very, very soon in the next like 48 hours, I wouldn't sleep a full sleep REM sleep cycle. I think you can nap for like 30 minutes. And because I was a nerd in 10th grade, I would study for the whole day. Let's say it's the early hours of the morning and I've woken up from sleeping. Let's say I've woken up at 5 a.m. If I've woken up at 5 a.m., I will study for at least like 35 to 40 minutes, and then I set a stopwatch. So on the iPhone or any phone, you have like a stopwatch or a timer. Set a timer for 15 to 10 minutes. I would sleep for those 10 minutes. Like I would literally lie back. I wouldn't even bother getting up and going. If I'm studying on my bed, I'm lying down on my bed for just 10 minutes. The moment the alarm rings, I wake up and continue studying again. But sleeping for 10-15 minutes during the study session is actually really helpful for me, especially the mornings before the exam. Like I would wake up at 3 a.m. before the day of my final exam, or even like short tests, and I would study 50 minutes, sleep 10 minutes, and immediately wake up after that and study. It's really helpful because when you're suffering from lack of sleep, even tiny naps while studying, I think helped me retain the information a lot better. Especially if you're memorizing something, I would highly recommend you take the small nap, because you need to have eyes like opened widely. You cannot lock in if your eyes are like on the verge of shutting down, and the worst case scenario is that you will like shut down when the exam is going on and you will have to wake up and study. And I've been through that, where I pull an all-nighter before my finance exam this time, and I had to force myself to be awake, and for the last 1 hour of the paper I was like going through it like it was a life and death situation for me. And to make it worse, when my friends and I went out to eat, I ate wasabi chips and wasabi fries, and the wasabi smell was all up in my nose and it was so painful. I cried. Anyways, I think when you start napping for more than 15 minutes is when you enter the enemy territory. Even 30 minutes is too much. Unless you're pretty good with the content, sleep for 1 hour before the exam and lock in and wake up. As a dual degree student at the University of Melbourne, I've been faced with multiple opportunities where I've had to write really long essays, but for some reason I always exceed the word limit. And cutting down every single sentence or paragraph can be hard and also extremely time consuming. If you're like me and struggle with overwriting, then keep watching, because Jenni AI is perfect for you. No matter what kind of writing you're producing, be it for a final assignment, a persuasive essay, or even a casual creative piece, Jenni AI's paraphrasing tool is perfect for you. Jenni was made to be a research writing assistant and encourages the writer to have complete control over what is said on paper. With Jenni AI's paraphrasing tool, you can not just cut down your words and paraphrase your sentences, you can also improve the simplicity and the fluency of your writing. You get to pick between different modes, such as persuasive, casual, and bold, so that your writing is tailored to your specific academic goals. Using Jenni AI's paraphrasing tool, you can also maintain the essence of your writing. With Jenni's paraphrasing tool, you can not just cut down your original word count, but also improve the simplicity and fluency of your writing. Jenni helps you meet your writing needs without losing your writing voice or the essence of your writing. Jenni is at the forefront of ethical AI in academia. You can use my link being displayed right now or available in the description box to try out Jenni AI for yourself. Along with that, you can also use my code NIKI20, which is NIKI20, to get 20% off at checkout. Once again, a big thank you to Jenni AI for sponsoring this portion of the video. Without any further ado, let's get straight back into it. Now, the fourth tip is called 4 a.m. studying. Wake up at 4 a.m. and study. I feel like 4 a.m. is like a liminal space, if you ask me, where if I wake up at 2 a.m. or 1 a.m., it's like far too unserious for me because I have like 7-8 hours down the line for my exam. However, if I'm waking up at 4 a.m., I've got like 4 hours, 5 hours max before my exam, and that kind of wakes me up for some reason at 4 a.m. Everything seems to be way more urgent. There's like a greater sense of urgency to study when it's like 4 a.m. Even 5 a.m., everyone wakes up at 5 a.m. You're not gonna get great marks if you wake up at 5 a.m. Wake up at 4 a.m. and suffer is what I used to think in 10th and 12th grade. And I have videos of me studying Hindi, second language Hindi, there like rocking myself back and forth at fucking 4 a.m. while studying, because I wanted to induce some sense of seriousness into my life. Which brings me to the fifth tip of recording yourself studying. Obviously, this does not work for every single person, because some people can get distracted looking at themselves studying, or the phone might just be there. But for me, I feel like if you suck at phone distractions or you get distracted by your phone pretty easily, trust me, we've all been there, it happens, and you don't want to give your phone to your family or your cousin or your friends, there's reasons obviously, then record yourself studying. Like put yourself somewhere in the corner and film a time lapse. This way you will not be motivated to go back and take your phone, because your mind will be telling you you were supposed to lock in and study. Why the hell are you going and checking your phone? It's like a normal psychological response to think, right? And also because there's a time lapse going on, you will feel like much more motivated to study and complete the time lapse. I remember in 10th grade, I used to go to like tuitions are basically like, it's like Hagwon in Korea and institutions in India, and I think it's just tutoring in other parts of the world where you just like get tutored, right? And I hated going to tuition classes because I just hated the people who were there. Like, no offense, like they had major beef with me for no reason, so I didn't like going there. But I had to go there because I had paid the fees for the tuition. But to motivate myself to go to tuition classes, I would study before the class, and I would always time lapse myself. I have time lapses of me like wearing night clothes and just like studying in this exact spot, and that's because the time lapse was going on. I felt this innate sense of urgency, this like loyalty, this pride to finish the time lapse. If I told myself I'm going to study for 33 minutes and there's a time lapse recording me, it's like verbal, it's like a law, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you want to break the law? Why do you want to like be out of the jurisdiction of the law? I would want to lock in and finish my time lapse so that I can look back at it. Which brings me to the motivational part. This is tip 6. Use yourself as motivation. Many people have role models and stuff like that, and it's great to look up to another person, but people are disappointing. But you know who won't disappoint you? You won't disappoint yourself. So use yourself as motivation, and if you have time lapses of yourself studying, looking at yourself locking in for those extended periods of time will really motivate you to study, because you'll just be like, wow, I studied so hard, I locked in so well, I can do it, I can lock in for another 3-4 days. And this served as my biggest motivator in 10th and 11th and 12th grades especially. In 10th, I was like a different breed. I was locked in, like, and I used my 10th grade self as motivation in 12th grade to work way harder. And if you know what you've gone through, then it'll be much easier for you to get motivated so that you can channel your, academic weapon self. So yeah, use yourself as motivation, but also don't feel ashamed to use other sources as motivation as well. Because so I know many people who use like what, Rory Gilmore or Hermione Granger or Devi Vishwakumar or like a bunch of these like study people. For me personally, I feel like a model I really liked was Light Yagami, because I just enjoyed watching Death Note, and I would like put Death Note in silent mode while studying sometimes so that I would like get inspired watching him like eat a chip and like write people's names in the notebook or whatever. So whatever your source of motivation is, channel it while studying so that you can lock in for a longer period of time. And you have to remember that it's a marathon. If it's 24 hours before the exam, it's not a marathon, it's a sprint, and you have to treat it like a marathon. There are certain steps in the marathon where you will walk, where you will be out of breath, but you gotta keep going. And there's certain phases in the marathon where you have to sprint to the finish line. Depending upon what stage you're in the marathon, you gotta channel that kind of energy, for because every single day of studying is not the same. Some days you can only give 50% and give your 50% though. If you know you can only give 50%, just give it. Instead of forcing yourself to give like 100% or 600%, something is better than nothing. And this works for almost every area of life. Reviewing 1 flashcard is better than reviewing 0 flashcards. Like, look, think about the bare minimum and then exceed it, basically. Next is locking in. To lock in, you gotta lock yourself inside your room. Stay with me. To lock in, you need to lock yourself inside your room for a pre-specified amount of time, let's say 5-6 hours, or even 1 or 2 hours, and then only get out of your room if you have to pee or if you're done studying. This is more extreme, but if you're a pro procrastinator, if you're a procrastinator pro max, if you're avoidant, then this is the best strategy. Honestly, going cold turkey and studying in your room until you've like become the Archimedes of your syllabus is perfect, because you are locked in. And even though it may suck at first, once you enter the flow state, you will start locking in and you will want to do more. And I think it's a pretty good strategy that can work if you employ it correctly. Obviously, if you're hungry, go eat, or if you haven't eaten breakfast, go eat breakfast. But what I'm saying is, if you have to lock yourself inside your room for some time, it's not that hard. It's just your room. There's nothing like coming at you. Physical recording. Record the amount of hours that you studied every single day. Like, they have like this tiny pocket notebook where they like write the amount of hours they studied. There are many applications. I used to do this in 11th grade and early 12th grade, where I had an application that would record the amount of hours I studied each day. So when you start studying, just press start on the application. I will put some applications that are good over here because I don't remember the one I used. I think it was a paid one, so I stopped using it. Once you see the timer going off and once you see the hours like accumulating on top of each other, then you will feel like more motivated to study because the hours are already racking up and you've studied for so long. It's also a different kind of motivation, seeing the amount of hours that you studied. Toxic study motivation. I also see like really toxic motivation on like Pinterest and like TikTok and all of that. If that gets you to studying, just do it. External motivation is having external factors like Pinterest quotes, a vision board, or toxic motivation on TikTok, Instagram, or using shows or having role models is external motivation. I think at the end of the day, it just depends on what kind of reasons you're motivated by and why you're studying what you're studying. And if you know why you're studying, then waking up at 4 a.m., taking 10-minute naps, thinking about your ancestors or whatever, anything can help you to study. Kids studying under lamplights, and then they clear like really competitive government exams. And you gotta think about people in that situation, and you gotta think how privileged you are to be studying as well. And like, if someone with only a flashlight and like $10 to his name could do it, why can't you do it? You have internet, you're watching a video, you just got to study a little bit more. Like, it's not that difficult, honestly. And this was kind of a mindset even I employed when I was in like 10th and 12th grades.